Okay, good evening everybody, and welcome to another video brought to you by TIS, which is the Targeted Individual Sanctuary. Now, I've had the opportunity to make a lot of videos lately, and that's as a result of me using my time out of the house to record, and take note of very important things that I'd like to share with you. And today is no different. The title of today's video is Working as a Targeted Individual. Working as a TI. This is a very important and sensitive topic for many targeted individuals, for the reason being that a lot of targeted individuals are finding themselves in different scenarios when it comes to having a stable, source of income, stable employment. You can already have a job, and then you can be experiencing workplace mobbing and painfully obvious attempts to sabotage your employment. You could be in a position where you do not have a job, and you are obviously doing everything you can to get some work, but this is impossible. You apply for jobs and you don't get a response, or you get a negative response. And this is not surprising at all, because we already know that as a targeted individual, you and I have been blacklisted. And as a result of being blacklisted, we find ourselves in this position where we are in a perpetual state of poverty. And this is known as joblessness engineering and poverty engineering. And throughout the years, I have, through my experience, gone through phases of hardship. This is a personal first-hand experience of hardship, hunger. I was almost homeless. And this comes as no surprise to me at all, because I already knew that these things were part of the program to put you in a state where you are financially desolate. However, in the process of experiencing these things, I learned a lot of things as well. And the things that I've learned, I'd like to share with you today. Now, let us look at the scenario where you do not have a job and you're hustling. You're struggling to survive. You don't have money to eat. Oh, sorry. It's okay. You don't have money to eat. You're in a situation where you can't quite pay your bills, debts, and you're frustrated because the depression sets in. And when the depression sets in, it doesn't really help, because you are living from hand to mouth. No problem, 1 second, we'll get to a clear area, then we'll continue properly. And then throughout all these experiences of me being broke in a state of hardship, I realized something, that all is not lost, there is hope. If you're a targeted individual, you need to begin to, or I'll put it this way, I strongly advise that you begin to consider working online. Yes, there are many things that you could do online, and working online has an obvious advantage, and it's a very big advantage. The advantage is the fact that you do not need to be in a situation where you are in a building or a workplace with other people who can sabotage you in so many different ways. They can sabotage you to get sacked, and therefore you have a bad record, which will make it difficult for you to get another job. Or they can even sabotage you to seriously harm you or kill you, which I am talking from my own first-hand experiences. So, before we proceed any further with the topic, I would like to give an example from my own personal experience. Back in 2017, when I discovered that I was a targeted individual, I came to realize it. I was working in a particular workplace where, let's just put it this way, even before I got to the place to start working there, I was already set up in advance. Every single employee in this workplace was working against me in one way or the other. I was set up even before I got there. I was set up to be seriously injured, to be sacked, or to be murdered at work. But obviously they'll make it look like an accident. Remember in my last video, I spoke of a manager who set me up to do some job, a very dangerous job. But then he took away all the tools that I would need to do the job safely. Now, this is a very irresponsible thing to do. And the moment I saw it, I just knew to myself that something terrible is happening here. And guess what, people? As a result of that setup, I ended up with a serious injury. A very serious injury. It was, let's put it this way, I've never felt that way before. I had an injury where I was bleeding profusely. I remember running down the street to the clinic so I could get my first aid done and for them to sort the issue out. And I was bleeding on the way there. They didn't call an ambulance for me. There was no first aid at work. Yes, you heard that right. There was absolutely no first aid at work. Sorry. It seems making nice videos these days is more of a problem. So yes, no first aid kit at work. Do you realize that? I had a serious injury and I had to leave work and run over to the clinic. Luckily, I was able to get there without fainting because I had bled that much that I was already starting to pass out. My body felt cold as a result. And after this incident, I now began to think to myself, because I was only starting to realize that I was targeted. So in other words, it was new to me. It was totally new to me, and I was thinking, this is obviously a setup. But I needed to know more. So I made it a point of duty that I will work there, gather as much intel as possible, but see to it that I do not get sacked in the process. Now let me tell you something that I noticed. I noticed that if somebody tries to kill you and they set you up and it doesn't work, they now become very scared and paranoid. And you now begin to watch them scramble for another plan. Because, you've obviously not fallen for their tricks. So, after I left that workplace, I made a promise to myself. And my promise was this: that there will be no reason in this whole entire universe that I will find myself in a workplace with other people just so that the organized gang stalking network can sabotage me. I said, no, this is not going to happen again. Luckily, I'm a very creative person. I'm actually an independent application developer, a graphic designer, and a multimedia technologist. So I used my skills to begin to make apps. And in fact, I have published 2 apps so far. But as you can imagine, they were trying to sabotage that. And very recently, I was working online in a research, it's like a research company, where, we call people up, we do interviews with them, and we gather data, etc. And when I did these things, I realized that it is possible to earn a living, make money, earn a living without having to leave your house. As a targeted individual, this is a very safe option. You're not having to work beside anybody that is trying to kill you. All you need to achieve working at home are the following: a decent laptop, a fast internet connection, and a phone a very decent phone that can take good videos and good images and decent images. So this is the sort of avenue I found myself. I found myself realizing that I do not need to leave my house for any reason just so that I can be sabotaged. No. I don't need to do that. There are other ways for me to make money, and this is why I'm sharing this with you today. So the question you might be asking is this: as a targeted individual, what sort of things could you do from home in terms of work from home jobs that can ensure that you can sustain yourself, make some money without having to deal with the pressures of workplace mobbing? The following are things that you could do. These are just suggestions, by the way. If you're a creative person like an artist or a musician or maybe a programmer, a developer, it would be a great idea to use that as an opportunity to build your portfolio, expand your portfolio. You can do creative freelancing work online. You can actually work with surveys. There's two types of surveys. There are surveys where you speak to people, collect data, and you could do it through the internet at home. And there are also surveys where you have to fill out surveys and you could earn money. But that option is not so hot because you'd have to give out a lot of your personal data. All right? So there are surveys you could do. Interviewing people over the phone from home. There are jobs like that you could do from home. You can actually do cryptocurrency trading. Trading online, stocks. These are things that you could do as a targeted individual, which will ensure that you don't have to see face to face with nobody. Starting 2024, well, I've been doing this for a couple of years. It's been a rocky ride, but I intend to make it more stable in 2024. And this is my advice to you. Please, as a targeted individual, you need to consider working online, because that option will create many avenues for you to sustain yourself. Now, I just wanted to mention that working online is not completely sabotage proof. No. Let's not get it twisted. It is not completely sabotage proof. The workers of iniquity and the organized gang stalking network, as you can imagine, would already find ways to sabotage you while you're working at home. For example, radiating you while you're at work, which I experienced. You will not believe what they would do to me in my interview job while I'm working at home. It's a 0-hour contract, so the hours I get depend on the availability of hours from the employer. So while I'm at work, at home, on the phone, they would radiate my throat. They will radiate my eyes. They will radiate my heart, my genitals, my head. In fact, there are times when I was on an interview and I was almost passing out because they were radiating the top of my head. It's totally crazy and wacky, but I'm telling you exactly what I went through. It's not a joke at all. And this made me realize that yes, working at home is not completely sabotage proof. However, when you put it side by side with actually grabbing a bus, jumping on a train, jumping in your car to go to a workplace with actual people, you can see that the danger of sabotage is much greater when you put it side by side. You will see that leaving your house to go over to a workplace is dangerous. There's so many things they could do to you. So many things. So, working online, dear targeted individuals, please consider it. This is just an impromptu video I just decided to make this evening. I took my stand out with me and I'm recording. So I thought, you know what, why not discuss this thing? Because it is very important. I also wanted to mention that I realized that in some cases, even having a place to stay to begin with is a problem. And obviously, if this is the case with you as a targeted individual, then it simply means that online employment is going to be very challenging for you. It's going to be very challenging. So what I'm going to do is, if you're not a member of the TIS community chat, please feel free to drop me an email through the official blog, or you can drop me a message, on Twitter. Because what I'm going to do is I am going to be listing things like basically a transcript of this discussion. What you could do in terms of online jobs, that means you can put some money in your pocket. You can pay the bills. You can make plans. And you know what sort of plans I mean. You can make plans. You can do all these things. And this is one of the most important things, people. You can actually afford to purchase equipment and materials that you can use to protect yourself. You can do that. It's pretty creepy down here, so I don't think I'm going to go any further. And just look at me talking, forgetting that there's strange creatures that live around here. It's just a very creepy sort of area. But yes, this is very, very important. If you are feeling depressed as a targeted individual, you're feeling totally hopeless, you feel like there's nothing you could do, the state of your financial situation makes you feel like you're desolate, there's nothing you could do, you're hopeless, please don't feel that way. This is how they want you to feel. There is obviously the option of working online. And I wanted to tell you from my personal experience, it is a viable option. Something that makes a lot of sense, something that can work. It is something that can work. And this is me telling you from my personal first-hand experiences. So for me right now, I actually work in a research company where, I interview people over the phone from the comfort of my bedroom. And I get paid for it. How do you think I was able to afford this camera? It's because of that job. That's how I was able to afford this particular camera. That's how I was able to buy the necessary materials to shield myself from the electromagnetic radiation and DEW weapons attacks. This is how I was able to do it. Now, it's a 0-hour job. What that means is that your hours are not guaranteed. So, for example, this Christmas, there were no hours, obviously. So, that happens. But at the end of the day, it's better than nothing. So, thank you very much, people, for watching this video. I hope you were able to get some useful information from what we've discussed today. And if you have any further questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Drop me a message. And I'll be more than happy to have a little chat with you on the subject, okay? So, thank you very much for your time. God bless. I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like and subscribe to this channel. Your support goes a very long way. Stay tuned for the next video, and don't forget to protect yourself at all times.